share practical tips on the sorts of things that marketers and communications and salespeople and managers and anyone who's trying to get more out of their digital marketing can apply to the everyday things that they might already be playing with. So we care deeply and sincerely about this objective of helping you out. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. So in return, we want to make sure we answer your questions precisely. And if you don't get the answers that you're looking for from this particular video, there are many more. But more importantly, please reach out to us, ask us the question. MintTwist, myself and my colleagues are always happy to answer any questions around digital marketing at all. So in today's particular episode, we're talking about how to plan a video marketing series, and this in itself is part of a series of 5 videos all about how to start digital marketing, or how to start video marketing specifically, and build it into your digital marketing strategy. And this series is set up to cover the basics really of video marketing and the basic key concepts that marketers will need to understand if you're going to be managing a process of video marketing, and that will also step into some of the practical elements so that you can actually start doing some of these things as well yourself with your in-house team. So many of you will be watching this as a live stream, some of you will be watching it on replay, many will be watching it on replay in fact. And so whether you're watching it on a replay or in a live stream, it's great to hear who you are, where you're from. It gives us an idea of who's watching our content, but also more importantly, it allows you to connect with each other. Asking questions in the chat is a great way to get answers very quickly. So please do introduce yourselves below. Just say hi. Okay, so what will we learn today? So we're going to learn to use how to use our video marketing strategy. And if you haven't seen part 1 in this series, I would recommend that you go back and watch that first before coming back to this part 2 in the series. Then we'll look at how to perfect our format. So the format that we've chosen for our video series is important, but we need to fine tune it to make sure it connects with what we're trying to achieve. And in order to understand that, we'll look at some of the different strategies that underpin some of the different types of content formats. We'll look at equipment, and then we'll look at some practical steps around planning your series of episodes and an individual episode. So reviewing our strategy, the key things that we definitely need to have nailed down is what are our goal, what are our specific objectives that we're trying to achieve by creating video and using it in our marketing, who is our audience is always an obvious one. And then most importantly, what is the theme that's going to underpin our series of videos, and then what are the individual topics that we're going to base our videos within the series on, and then how does that resonate with what our target audience are actually looking for. Is it either genuinely useful or genuinely entertaining? Is there some genuine value that our target audience can get from our episodes? So we spoke last time about formats. There are lots of different formats. Let's just dive into some of the key ones here. So a lot of marketing videos might be focused around so-called vlogs, so video logs. The objective here, because of the nature of a vlog, it's normally based around an individual or a relatively small group of people. And for a series of vlogs, it allows an audience to connect with that individual. So if we're using it from a marketing purpose, we've got to think ambassador, potentially influencer. I think very often the best influencers and ambassadors for a brand organization come from within that organization. But whoever it is, we're going to be looking to build up a very transparent, authentic relationship with that character and the audience. And by humanizing our messages, it's classic marketing. People buy from people, people connect with people, people resonate with people. So we can build up this know, like, and trust factor. So as audience watch more of the videos that involve the characters that are representing our organization, they get to know them, they get to like them, and they get to trust them after time. And so the strategy here is obviously we need an individual group of individuals that are going to be pretty connected to our brand and organization, and ideally they're going to be connected over a long period of time. The last thing we want to do is build up a lot of sort of equity around a particular individual if they're not going to sort of hang around. So that's the key sort of factor there. And the character in this video example that's on the slides here is a chap called Gary Vaynerchuk, who is a very sort of influential character in the digital and the marketing space in the United States especially, but actually has global reach. And he's used his personal brand to build up his media company and other companies that he's been involved in. He's essentially been vlogging his life and streaming against a number of different channels for almost a decade now. And it's been very, very effective strategy for him, but others as well. So how-to videos, these are kind of step-by-step tutorials that are going to help a user to be able to achieve and help a target customer rather, or an audience member to achieve some specific outcome that and they need, and it might be something that they need a bit of help with. So a classic example of where how-to videos are used is in makeup tutorials. So target customers for makeup brands will be obviously looking to achieve a particular look. That's the benefit that you can get from buying makeup products. So it makes sense for makeup brands, lipstick, eyeliner, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, to create how-to tutorials helping their users to achieve the look, and those tutorials obviously are connected with their products. So the strategy here is to provide value through helpful, actionable, potentially inspirational guide videos. You need to ground those videos on genuine knowledge, which means your brand has to have genuine knowledge on the subject. But if you do, those videos can be really successful. An interesting video format is Q&A, so question and answers. And the objective here is you're going to be able to provide assistance to your audience base. So if your brand is based around a specialist subject particularly, then you might benefit from being able to share knowledge openly with your audience. And what better way to know what your customers want to understand than by asking them. So if you can create a process where you capture the questions that your audience are asking, then those questions can make a very good template and content for a question and answer video. So you answer a generic question with a generic answer, and that's going to provide hopefully a lot of value to your customers. So in order to achieve this, you need some form of platform where you can garner the questions. So if you've already got a customer service function, you may very well already have that. And then another trick you can do in the example that we're showing here is actually a podcast hosting platform called Buzzsprout. They actually bring their customers into the video. They record a small bit of sound of the customer speaking the question over some audio, and then they integrate that audio into the video, and so the customers are actually directly involved in the video, which obviously creates extra engagement. The interview format is classically used in podcasts, but it can also be used in video very well, and very often podcast video is repurposed into podcast. And the interview strategy is that it will create awareness and engagement by leveraging the audience of your interviewee. So if you're an interviewer, creating a series of videos on some sort of industry specialist topic, and you invite people that are influential within your industry, when they come onto your show, they kind of bring a portion of their audience, and moreover, it allows you as the interviewer to create direct connections with individuals, which you hope might at some stage lead to opportunities. So it's classic. There are lots of small businesses out there at the moment looking to build up and start industry-specific podcasts exactly for this reason. The example on the screen here is the Financial Times. So they will, it's obviously a big brand, so they will land big guests. But the guest on, fourth along here is Bill Gates. And when his particular interview aired on the Financial Times YouTube channel, the reach was, significantly higher than a typical reach for a typical guest. So, the bigger the audience of the guest, the bigger the uplift in awareness that you can get from that particular video. So when we look at the equipment we need, and we spoke last week we spoke in part 1 about the different types of equipment you need. So the sort of group of equipment, if you like, depends a lot on your format and the location of where you'll be filming. So you can have a mobile setup, and many smartphones have cameras that are incredibly sophisticated and can record excellent quality video. If you are going to use a mobile setup, you will definitely need a microphone, because unlike video quality, the audio quality of most of the smartphones is not probably quite where you would want it to be. You'll obviously need some form of selfie stick or tripod, if it's static outdoor video, and then you're good to go. The studio option is obviously allows you to be a bit more formal in your setup. You can use a high-end camera, a high-end tripod. You might have some lighting. You can make use of a green screen, which allows you to overlay content onto the background of your frame, and we'll talk about that in video editing in part 4 of this series. You can have a desk-based setup, which might be relevant if you're doing certain forms of educational video content like this. I'm currently sitting at a desk. If you're running a live stream, potentially be running it from your desktop. If it's an interview, you might be running it over something like Zoom, for example. In the case of a desktop, you might have your laptop. You can connect an external camera if you want. You can, again, like we said with the mobile setup, it makes sense to try and buy a microphone because it will have a significant positive impact on the audio quality. Okay, so series and episode plans. So we spoke in part 1 about how to formulate a video marketing strategy. So theme, number of topics that are relevant to our customer, to our target customer. So once we've got in mind a series of topics, we need to start writing things down. So what is the topic of our episode? What's the title of our episode? And which people are going to be involved? That's the key information. There's obviously a bit more, because we'll want to plan the relevant segments for our episode. Now, in part 1 of this, in video marketing strategy, we spoke about the classic segments of a typical episode. So depending on the format that we're choosing and the type of content that we're going for, we would use potentially all, but more likely a subset of these segments, and we might have some specific segments that are relevant to us. But the point is, once we've decided on a video format, we will probably be consistent with our format across our episodes. So for whatever segments we're going to include for our particular video format and series format, we need to list those segments down in our episode plan and fill in the relevant details so we know what we're doing when we come to record. And so for each segment, the 3 key things we need is how long is it, who, and what is the audience seeing, hearing, feeling, and then, we don't need to script the exact content, but some detail about what the content of the segment is. And as we just said, a verbatim script, so writing down everything word for word, I certainly wouldn't recommend that. And I think most good marketing video is not necessarily a verbatim script. If you're creating something like a very tied down, highly produced advert, you probably would have a verbatim script. But many of the successful types of marketing video is more likely to sit along a kind of bullet point guide, or at least somewhere between verbatim and bullet points. And so once you've once you've understood what segments we've got, obviously we've got our theme, topic, title, we can then put in more of the detail to create a plan that's very specific for that particular episode. So the idea is we've got a series plan, and then we've got an episode plan for each of our episodes. And once we've got those things, we're ready to go and start recording. So in the next video, in part 3 of this series, we're going to be looking at how to produce video. But what have we learned today in the planning stage? Well, we reviewed how to use the strategy, we talked about video formats, we talked about the sorts of equipment we need, and then how to plan a series and how to plan an episode. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you did like it, please comment. If you think someone else would like it, please consider sharing it with them. If there's any questions that I can answer, if I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. MintTwist, the digital agency that have produced this series that I work with, are extremely helpful and nice people. So you can always reach out to us through the website or through hello@minttwist.com. Okay, until next time, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.